This video isn't for everyone. It is for elite investors only who understand that time is capital and precision beats volume. Let's get into the topic. Bonjour, hello, welcome back to Deals with Simon. In today's video, I'll walk you through the ultra luxury segment of Dubai's off-plan real estate market. And this video is going to be the first and only in-depth breakdown about this segment, which you will find on YouTube, because I've done my due diligence, I've done my research, and I was surprised and actually disappointed why there is no one who really clarifies the misconceptions and gives you a very detailed understanding of the opportunities, the different options, the specific locations to choose for, the developers which really are able to produce those kind of ultra luxury projects, and what are the things to look out for. And especially I want to give you a clarity why global billionaires are moving and shifting funds into this specific segment of Dubai's market and creating returns and profits in a couple of years that most global markets need decades for it. We're going to explore a couple of actual real-time transactions as well, because I want to show you and give you a proof of what's possible in this particular segment. So stick till the end and let's get into the topic. Let's start with the positioning for the price. So ultra luxury per definition literally never starts below 20 million dirhams. So we're speaking about roughly $5 million as your entry ticket into this exclusive segment. The majority of transactions which we can find right now in this uber luxury segment is anywhere in the range of 30 to 100 million dirhams. That is the majority. And there are some exceptions of 150, 200, 400 million, even like 500 million dirhams happened last year, 2024. And this is the first important segment. This is the price range. Next one is the supply and demand ratio, because ultra luxury is everything about exclusivity, and exclusive can only be something which is finite in numbers, which is rare, which is limited, and this is definitely the case with the supply. So we're speaking about roughly 0.5 to 1% of the total supply of Dubai's real estate market can be classified as ultra luxury, okay? And specifically in the projects, we find oftentimes units which are fewer than 50 individual units and properties in the overall project. So this is per se the definition of a limited supply. Next up to define is the product type, because the majority of those products are classified as penthouses, number one, and number two, villas/mansions, and especially if they are beachfront villas and mansions, because this is the creme de la creme, the pinnacle of real estate which you can acquire, in my opinion. And I want to emphasize in this particular part, which is the large space. So we will barely find a product which is below 3,000 or 4,000 square foot in total size. We will never find a studio or one bed which you really can classify as a ultra luxury, right? Most of those residences, they start at 3 beds, 4 beds, and all the way up to 6, 7, 8 beds. This is basically, in terms of the product type, the classification behind it. Another important element is the management of those kind of residences, specifically the services which you can enjoy as a result out of it. And we will find top-notch 5-star hospitality brands in a lot of those kind of residences, which I'm suggesting when it comes to this ultra luxury segment. Specifically, to give you a couple of examples, we find the Dorchester collection with all of the Omniad projects, okay, number one. Number two is the Bulgari, especially with Meraz in a cooperation when it comes to Jumeirah Bay Island, okay, in case that we want to go for this billionaire island, which is very, very exclusive and one of the most prestigious locations in Dubai overall, or Four Seasons private residences, which we see in Jumeirah and very soon in DIFC as well. A specific factor that buyers sometimes underestimate, or in a few cases even neglect, is the selection of the right developer. Because it is one thing to create fancy brochures, and it is something completely different to really deliver those kind of residences as a finished product. And therefore, I'm always trying to stick to the developers who have a track record, a history, and to really prove themselves. And one of those developers is definitely Omniad. So Omniad was founded and established in 2005 by Mr. Mahdi Amjad, and they proved themselves with the Opus by Zaha Hadid, with the one at Palm Jumeirah, Dorchester Collection, with the Lana Hotel and Residences Dorchester Collection. These are all very well curated, highly known and highly seen residences, which they really have delivered so far. And number two is definitely H&H. So H&H don't market themselves that aggressively, and that's why they're sometimes not very known for international clients who are coming to me the first time. But if you look closer, H&H, they are behind the Four Seasons private residences, the Four Seasons Hotel in Jumeirah and in DIFC, as well as they're creating right now the private residences Four Seasons in DIFC, okay? They have established their own brands, the Eden House. They're really, really successful. They have an enormous development right now, right below Dubai Hills, which is called the Eden Hills, okay? A selection of 5-bedroom villas and 6-bedroom mansions. So H&H is an incredible developer. And if we can go closer, which I cannot disclose right now who's behind H&H actually, you will be fascinated. And number three is definitely Meraz. Meraz has established beautiful communities. Man, that's interesting because they are actually a boutique developer, but they are able to create whole communities, right? They are behind City Walk, behind Blue Waters, but behind Bulgari as well. So Jumeirah Bay Island, which is the technically correct name, is branded completely by Bulgari, and this is one of the most, if not the most expensive areas overall of Dubai, okay? And then we have some selected unique developers. So basically certain developers who have an incredible track record in other countries, okay? They are establishing themselves right now in Dubai in some incredible locations, like for example on the Dubai Water Canal, which I'm explaining in a second, where we find, for example, Murabavil, where we find, for example, The Rings, which is done by PMR. Those developers, they have actually accomplished a lot already in the past, and they are relocating right now to Dubai. Another interesting factor is that those developers oftentimes collaborate with globally renowned architects and interior designers. Just to give you two examples, Foster and Partners, we will see a lot of them in Dubai in the upcoming years. They are behind the Apple headquarters, and they are strongly collaborating with Omniat on all of the Dorchester Collection buildings at the moment. And another example is Gilles et Boissier, and they are behind the Baccarat Hotel in New York. And they are actually doing the interiors for Omniat, for Vella and Vella Viento, both Dorchester Collection. Well, the ultra luxury segment is literally the only one which allows you limitless customization. So in off-plan, you basically have two options. Option number one is you're going for land. You're buying yourself a plot, and on this plot you can build your custom mansion, which is incredible because you have full control how the final product will look like. However, the only obstacle here is to get a plot, to get the availability of a plot in a prime location and build the property exactly in that size ratio the way how you want it. But I can help you here because there are a handful of locations where we have this incredible opportunity to buy a land. And as you know, owning the land is literally the most powerful element of real estate in itself. This is option number one. Option number two is you're going for the most prestigious, most unique property within an ultra luxury project. That can be a sky mansion, that can be a sky palace. And oftentimes these properties come shell and core. Shell and core means they are completely empty, they're completely naked, and it allows you to create and customize this property exactly to your own unique requirements. And if you want to know more about this particular opportunity, this can only be discussed one-on-one. So basically click the link below this particular video, fill out the form, and let's have a one-on-one private consultation, because I cannot disclose what exactly you can do and with who you can do that. So let's speak about privately. Experiencing the highest level of quality is obviously one of the most important elements of ultra luxury. And here I want to refer to the overall construction quality. So basically, whenever we're speaking about this topic, we should go back and understand who's the selected and chosen contractor, because they are doing the actual execution on the construction. And when it comes to the finishings, and when it comes to the materials especially, we're often getting a material mood board provided by the developer. We can check the actual materials. We can check what kind of marbles are they using, and where do they actually implement those marbles. We can check what kind of flooring do they use, what kind of woods do they use, what are the materials in the bathroom, for example, where's the bathtub coming from. All of those kind of elements we can check to understand exactly how will our future residence look like. Number one. Number two, what we can do, we can check, for example, let's take Omniat as a perfect example, Dorchester Collection. We can walk into the Lana, okay, in Business Bay, Marasi Bay, and we can just identify and feel, get a sense of feeling for how the product will look like later on, how will it feel later on, because they have actually delivered and accomplished those kind of residences. So these are the kind of things, how we can check the quality overall. Who are your neighbors? A question which might not be on your mind in the first place, but it is actually very important to clarify that, because you are a very discerning buyer if you are looking into that segment, into that bracket of real estate. And you want to make sure that your environment is at a similar level, if not a higher level, because as we all know, we are basically a product of the people we hang around with. And for the people who bought with me those kind of properties in the higher range, in higher brackets, for them it was extremely important to clarify with who are my kids surrounded, with who do they play when they go to the Infinity Edge pool, for example. And this is why we should identify and discover who are the type of people who are buying those kind of properties. So let me give you an example. Let's say the entry ticket into a certain residence is 40 million dirhams. That's roughly $10 million. That means that you are surrounded purely by multimillionaires, people who have minimum spent $10 million on a property, right? So these kind of people, they must come from a certain place of mindset. And this is exactly the message we would like to give you here. So people who are buying those residences are tendentially high net worth individuals / ultra high net worth individuals. Comes down to obviously the net worth. These are royalties, billionaires, and obviously in terms of investments, we do have single family offices who are diversifying their portfolios and who are looking for these kind of trophy assets to add them into the portfolio and keep them for several years, even decades. And last but not least, the overall lifestyle quality. And here I'm referring to the amenities, facilities, and services, because these elements, they have a major impact on the opulent lifestyle you're expecting in your private residence. Look, whenever we're speaking about ultra luxury, we are speaking about a huge selection of those kind of services and amenities. And I just want to give you a couple of examples. So oftentimes these residences come with a private pool, which is super important to the majority of my clients in that segment. Then we find wellness sanctuaries, we find spa treatments, which are oftentimes available for the residents. What else do we have? Michelin star restaurants. Just go into the Royal Dantes, and I think you will find 6 or 7 of those kind of restaurants only in the Royal Dantes itself, okay? So there's a huge selection of it. Then private chefs, okay? We oftentimes have the ability to actually order a private chef into our residence who cooks them for us. Cigar lounges we will find oftentimes. Then signature concierge, super important. For me as a private client concierge, I understand my requirements very uniquely and deeply, and to have someone in your residence who understands you as well and who even like goes beyond your expectations and delivering you something which you have not expected from him, this is exactly what you can experience in those kind of residences. This is exactly what I like to do and what I love to do for my clients as well. And then you have, for all the beachfront properties, you have direct access to private beaches, as well as access to marinas and private yacht berth if we're speaking about a seafront properties, for example, or a canal front property, okay, which we have, for example, in the Marassi Bay with Omniad. So this is just an insight into what you can expect in this segment. Let's continue and let's have a quick insight into a couple of locations where we actually can find and acquire those unique and ultra luxurious properties in Dubai. And for that matter, I just put 2 different brackets. Category number 1 are the iconic established locations, basically done and matured communities. And number 2 are the elite upcoming locations. So basically where we can acquire properties right now in off-plan stage for a very reasonable price per square foot. And I see a lot of upward trajectory that these prices will just adjust itself to the market condition, to the market norm, the standard in the secondary market, where we are right now with, for example, the Palm Jumeirah, Jumeirah Bay Island, or Emirates Hills. So let's start with the Palm. The Palm Jumeirah is a landmark of Dubai, if you want so. Everyone knows the Palm. It is a very famous element of Dubai itself, and we can find gorgeous beachfront villas there, on the fronts especially. And some of them, which seem quite new, quite modern, are the ones which are refurbished, which are modernized, okay? And this is a quite interesting business model as well, buying villas in a very, very strategic location like the Palm, where there's always a demand on it, and refurbishing them, restructuring them, okay? Adding a lot of value and then reselling them for a significant profit. This could be something very incredible. Jumeirah Bay Island is number 2. Jumeirah Bay Island is considered in Dubai as the billionaire's island. A 2-bedroom apartment in the secondary market is 20 million plus, okay? A 2-bedroom apartment with roughly 2,000 plus square foot. So this is quite interesting. Even Cristiano Ronaldo bought a plot there, so he's potentially your neighbor. And then number 3 is Emirates Hills. So Emirates Hills is quite interesting because this is considered as the Hollywood Hills of Dubai, if you want so. And the rough price segment there for mansions is 40, 50, 60, 80, 100, 150 million plus, okay? So this is a purely high ticket community, gorgeous with the lakes, gorgeous with the famous golf course there, okay, Montgomery Golf Course. And this is basically it for the established locations. And now let's move on to the upcoming locations where I see a lot of value increase. So number 1 is definitely the Dubai Water Canal. Dubai Water Canal, we're having gorgeous developments left and right off the canal of it, and the average entry tickets, okay, price per square foot there is roughly 5,500 dirhams, anywhere between 5,000 and 6,000 dirhams. Some of them are a little bit up, some of them are a little bit below of them, but this is the average entry ticket into an ultra luxury property in an emerging area. Definitely in combination with the peninsula. So there's a very unique and special peninsula, okay, which is done and created by H&H. And I cannot disclose more information about this peninsula here, but this is definitely a topic which we can speak privately about it as well. Then what else do we have? La Mer South / Cheywan Beach. On my channel, there is one video upcoming, which is the breakdown of Jumeirah Azora Bay. This is one of the most incredible developments which we see overall in the whole year. It is located in La Mer South, directly on the coastline of Dubai, okay? And it is Jumeirah branded, and right next to it is basically Cheywan Beach, if you want so, with 13 elite venues where you find those gorgeous restaurants and beach clubs, okay? Serene by Gaia, for example, African Queen is there, Choo Choo, Baoli, and these are all the spots which are exactly in that community. And then we have Marassi Bay, which is basically one of my absolute favorites, because Marassi Bay Marina is the area where Omniat has acquired a huge parcel of land, basically 4 strategic plots, and we find the developments there. One which is already completed and very successful, the Lana Residences and Hotel, Dorchester Collection. Next to it we find Vella Viento, and even Enara is there. So there's a lot of potential property which can be acquired for a very reasonable price per square foot as well, in a very strategic position when it comes to being directly connected to the financial center of Dubai, which is DIFC, and downtown Dubai as well. Let's continue with a quick insight into a very interesting article of Construction Week, which is based on the quarterly report of Knight Frank from last year, 2024. So it's basically quite current, and what we can find in this article is the perfect demonstration and the confirmation that we have a massive shortage of ultra luxurious homes right now in the secondary market in Dubai. So what that tells us is that the supply, okay, we can see it here, the supply of homes in the bracket $10 million plus 40 million dirhams roughly, okay, is short on 40%. So the listings decline, the listings get less and less. That means that people who are owning those homes, they're not willing to sell them at the moment. And that tells us that Dubai's ultra luxury market is maturing at the moment, and that people see themselves longer in the city, in the overall ecosystem here, which is quite important for the overall market stability. Then the next one is the bracket of $25 million plus, okay, which is roughly 100 million dirhams in the range plus. Here we have a significant drop when it comes to available homes in the market. You can see it here. The available homes, okay, in this bracket shrinking by 85%. So if you're like someone who is looking for a very luxurious home, let's say 25-30 million US dollars, and you're looking in the secondary market right now, your options are very capped, they're very limited, okay? And that's exactly the chance of acquiring in the off-plan game right now one of those trophy assets, because they will eventually rise in value because of the numbers, okay? You can see it here, and they are the perfect alternative, the perfect solution for finding something in that kind of price bracket, okay? It's extremely important when we're looking into the price history and the price trajectory for the future to see that there's a massive shortage and there's still a huge demand, because those people are actually coming to Dubai at the moment. Now, the next one is that Palm Jumeirah, for example, Jumeirah Bay Islands, Emirates Hills, the locations which I already mentioned here, we are having a rough increase of price of 17% year on year, okay, which is quite explosive, because you don't have that anywhere else in other major city at the moment, to have 2 digits in price growth, and especially 17% in those kind of locations. And last but not least is the confirmation that Dubai's ultra luxury market, okay, is definitely maturing, is establishing, and it is literally a safe haven investment for global ultra high net worth individuals, okay, and obviously a local luxury buyer. So the information given in that article just tells us that this segment is exactly where we need to tap into it, especially off-plan, where we can acquire those properties on significant lower prices compared to what's available in the secondary market. And we can see in secondary market, it's not even a much which is available. And before we're gonna wrap up this ultra luxury deep dive in a second, let me just add a few more points which underlines why the segment moves differently. We already spoke about the supply extensively, but even in off-plan, it is a hyper limited supply which we have available here. Why? Because we're only having a handful of developers who are capable of actually coming up with those kind of concepts and developments, okay? And they are only capable then of launching a couple times per year. So the prime units, the prestigious units of those launches, they are gone extremely fast, and that leads to the fact that we're having a shortage here, okay, and an undersupply basically. And these properties, they will always keep its value. These trophy assets can never fall in price, because there is no sell off of those kind of properties because of the buyer target markets. And number 2 is definitely relation-based allocation. So what that means is the following: if you are new to Dubai's market, and if you don't have the right relationships established with the right people in the developers' offices, chances are quite low that you can grab exactly those prestigious units. Why? Because they are reserved for the VIP clients, for royalties, for locals, for people who basically have the track record and the history prior to that. Number 3, it's about perspective. Ultra luxury is definitely not for everyone. It is for people who understand a couple of things, who understand wealth preservation, capital preservation, who understand prestige and status. The buyers who are coming to me, my clients in that segment of ultra luxury, they all understand those elements, and it's all the time a very similar touch, similar requirements what they're having, and their mindset is very similar and identical from human to human, as I can see in that kind of range. So this segment is reserved for the few. And last but not least, global capital. This is important. Capital is flowing right now to Dubai. Why? Because of the tax efficiency, number 1. Number 2, the business environment. And number 3, the overall growth of the city. We can see that we have a very attractive tax overview, basically, the way how taxes are paid here and the amount of taxes. This is attractivity in itself. And the business environment. I mean, look how many companies are relocating to Dubai and how much business is created here. And Dubai's Vision 2040 is just like the perfect underlining for the growth of the city. And now that you understand the full landscape of Dubai's ultra luxury property market, you might ask yourself the question, hey Simon, where's the next big opportunity? Which exact project should I look into it? And what are the specific developments that really make sense from an investment point of view and individually for you if you're looking for a prestigious home? And I'd like to clarify this question in two particular ways. Number one, subscribe to my YouTube channel, Deals with Simon. Don't miss out any more videos because I'm explaining certain projects in a very detailed way. So especially Vella, Vella Viento, Dialba, which are all Omniad projects by Dorchester Collection. They're coming up off my channel. And these are very reasonable products and they basically match those two elements, which is number one, the investment factor, and number two, a perfect home for yourself. And the even more smarter way is you taking action by actually booking a private one-on-one consultation with me. Just click the link below this particular video, fill out the form, give me some upfront information, the more the better, and the more accurate the better, because this is the exact way how I can prepare myself for a meeting. And will take 45 minutes of my time in order to consult you in the best possible way. And I can only do that if you take action. So click the link below this particular video, fill out the form, see you on the other side, and I'll see you in Dubai.